Okay. Excuse me. Yeah. Then comes to all doors and window frames. The wooden and also metallic frame shutters shall be kept painted and also varnished and put into the washing area at least once in every period of 5 years. And the dates which the process required by the clause D or carried out shall be entered in the prescribed register. So for all this activity, painting activity, cleaning activity, washing activity, you should maintain a register. If you ask me whether the companies are maintaining this, with my experience, I have not seen such a detailed this thing, but they'll have the painting register. Maybe I don't think so, but they have a record. Whenever they purchase a paint or the POs or work orders, they can show this. Otherwise, the registers I have not seen. Then disposal of waste and effluent. This is also one of the important section. As a safety officer, we should know. It is about disposal of waste and effluent. అంటే ఏంటి ఒక వేస్ట్ జనరేట్ చేసిన మన వేస్ట్ని ఎలా డిస్పోజ్ చేస్తున్నాము దాంతో పాటుగా ఎఫ్లూయెంట్ అంటే ఏంటి వాట్ ఇస్ మీన్ బై ఎఫ్లూయెంట్ అంటే ప్రాసెస్ waste or process the liquids which are contaminated by the process chemicals, the liquids which are contaminated, which is not suitable for use for any gardening or drinking or for any other purposes. It is a contaminated water. Basically, contaminated water will be called as an effluent. It may be contaminated with any type of chemical. So here it is talking about the effective arrangement shall be made in every factory for the treatment of waste and also effluent due to the manufacturing process carried on them, so as to render them innocuous and also for their disposal. So we have to have proper facilities for disposal of waste as well as treatment of those waste. Some of the companies they have ETPs and STPs. Maybe some of the companies they'll give incineration facility also for the disposal of the waste they are generating. But most of the companies they'll give it to the third party who is authorized waste recycler. I don't want to take the any examples here. I think it is people are well known. These are the companies they are doing. Then ventilation and temperature. This is one of the requirement. So here the effective suitable provision shall be made in every factory for securing and maintaining in every workroom adequate ventilation by circulation fresh air and also such temperature as will be required to worker with a reasonable conditions of comfort and also prevent injuries to health. So here we should maintain the proper ventilation. So we have discussed about ventilation and illumination topic. So there we have seen whenever the ventilation is not there, what is going to happen? The people will get contaminated or will be affected with the emissions. One second, please. The process waste, byproduct, or liquid waste. Yes, good. Yeah. So here, what will happen? If the ventilation is not so good, what will happen? There will be an accumulation of all the dust which is generated. There is an accumulation of all the fumes which is generated. There is an accumulation of the mist which is generated. So the people will be affected or will be affected by those emissions or the dust or the fumes, the mist which is generated or which is leaked or which is escaped is going to be high risk to the health of the people. So we have to arrange a suitable facility or provisions for proper ventilation and also the temperature of the work area. So if it is a so high temperatures, ఎప్పుడు కూడాను మనకి అక్కడ ఉండే వాతావరణం అంటే గాలి వెలుతురు అనేది ప్రాపర్గా వెళ్తూ ఉండాలి. దాంతో పాటుగా అక్కడ ఉండే టెంపరేచర్, సో టెంపరేచర్ కూడాను ఒక సర్టైన్ లిమిట్లో ఉండాలి. So if you're not maintaining the temperature properly, then people will get fatigue. Due to that, they'll get exhausted. They're trying to tends to go for taking shortcuts, resulting be it will be resulting in accident. Okay, fine. I'll give this document. No one will ask you in the exam to write all these things and all. You can write just your understanding. Okay. The dust and fumes in every factory in which by a reason of manufacturing process carried out, there is a given of any dust or fumes or other impurity of such nature and such extent as likely to be injurious or offensive to the workers employed therein, or any dust in a substantial quantities, effective measures shall be taken to prevent its inhalation or accumulation in the workroom. If you see here, these are the two main points out of this complete paragraph. Prevent its inhalation and accumulation. So how we can prevent the dust and fumes? How we can prevent? We should have proper dust and the fume extraction system in place. So there we have seen two types in our previous lectures. One is natural ventilation or dilute ventilation or local exhaust ventilation. What is meant by local exhaust ventilation? Wherever the dust which is generating, which means the point of source, there you are going to have exhaust system. So the minute the dust generates from the point of operation, it immediately sucks. That is local exhaust ventilation. If I say dilution ventilation, what will happen? Here you will have the basic windows based on your design. So here it will not take out the complete concentration of the dust or fumes which is generated, but it will dilute. Dilute in the sense the concentration of the dust, the concentration of the fumes will be reduced. So you are diluting means దాని యొక్క కాన్సన్ట్రేషన్ అంటే దాని యొక్క గాఢత, దాని యొక్క తీవ్రతని ఈ డైల్యూషన్ వెంటిలేషన్లో మనం తగ్గించగలుగుతాం. అదే ఒక 1000 పీపీఎంలో ఒక 50 పీపీఎం ఉందనుకోండి, డైల్యూషన్ వెంటిలేషన్ ద్వారా ఒక 30 పీపీఎం తగ్గించి ఇంకా 20 పీపీఎం మనకి అక్కడ కెమికల్ ఉండేదానికి ఛాన్స్ ఉంది. అదే మనం లోకల్ ఎగ్జాస్ట్ వెంటిలేషన్లో అయితే కంప్లీట్గా 50 పీపీఎం మనకి అక్కడ జనరేట్ అవుతుంటే ఆల్మోస్ట్ 45 పీపీఎం ఆఫ్ dust or the fumes, the particles can be removed by local exhaust ventilation. Okay. If you see any factory, no stationary internal combustion engine shall be operated unless an exhaust is connected to it to a open air, and also no other internal combustion engine shall be operated in any room unless effective measures have been taken to prevent such accumulation of fumes thereof likely to be injurious to health. So any engines or any internal combustion engines like all our engines for DG sets and all definitely will have exhaust system. Then artificial humidification is also one of the uh, important section. In respect of factories, which all the humidity of air is artificially increased, the government may take the rules prescribed standard humidification, regular methods used for artificially increasing the humidity. Humidity means తేమ శాతం అంటే గాలిలో ఉండే తేమ శాతాన్ని పెంచటము. It is not a requirement of all kind of manufacturing facilities. Only few of them they will used to have. Then in any factory which the humidity of the air is artificially increased, the water used for the purpose shall be taken from public supply or other source of drinking water shall be effectively purified before it is so used. So in case of you're using for humidification, definitely we need a water. When you're using those water, you have to test it. If it is completely fine, no excess impurities or the TDS or any other minerals which are there inside that water content, then you can be used. It is appears to be an inspector that the water used in the factory for increasing humidity, which is required to be effectively purified under the subsection 1, is not effectively purified. He may serve the on manager of the factory or order in writing, specifying the measures which is his opinion should be adopted and also requiring them to carry it out before specified date. If you're not doing, we have to inform to the inspector of factories. Then overcrowding. This is also very important. We should know, and especially in the interviews, you may get a question with respect to overcrowding. Okay, I could see Lalit, housekeeping, ESP, wet scrubber, fabric filter. heat stress, sometimes quality process, dehydration. Okay, thanks Lalit, thanks Naresh. Yeah, go back to the presentation. Then overcrowding. What does it mean by overcrowding? We used to say this overcrowded. So many people have attended. So if you see the overcrowding, no room in any factory shall be overcrowded to an extent injurious to health of the workers employed therein. So why we should not overcrowd it? Because if your room which is designed for 10 people, if the you are sitting 20 or 30 people, what will happen? If the ventilation is not designed so based on the size of the room, you are going to get suffocate because the circulation of air will not be there. So it is always good to not to overcrowd the rooms where you are working. Okay, here we'll see what it does mean exactly. So without prejudice the generality of the subsection 1, there shall be every workroom of the factory in existence the date of commencement of this act at least 9.9 cubic meters, and also of a factory built after commencement of this act 14.2 cubic meters or space for every employed. 14.2 cubic meters for every employed. One second, I'll just highlight this. Therein and also the purposes of sub-inspection subsection, no account shall be taken of any space which are more than 4.2 meters above the level of the floor of the room. So we should not consider above 4.2 meters level of the floor of the room. We should not consider. Then the chief inspector of by order in writing so requires, there shall be posted in each workplace, workroom, the factory, a notice specifying the maximum number of workers who may or in compliance with the provisions of the section be employed in the room. So number of people are supposed to be allowed in that specific room, that has to be displayed. Yes. Then the chief inspector may be in order to writing exempt that subjected to such conditions in any case may think fit to impose or any workroom from the provisions of the section if he is satisfied that the compliance there in respect of the room is unnecessary in the interest of health and safety of the workers therein. So if it is not required, then we can give a written representation that we have to take the special approvals from that. Then lighting, which is also the general requirement. In every part of the factory where the workers are working on passing there shall be provided and maintained sufficient, also suitable lighting, natural or artificial. So regarding the glare also we have discussed in our previous section in safety engineering 2, lighting and illumination. So if the lighting is not there, it is going to be a nightmare for everyone. If light is not there, we can't see anything after 7 or 8 in the late evenings. So the lighting is very much required. But here it is in every factory, all glazed windows and sky lights used for the lighting of the workroom shall be kept clean. Also, both are inner outer surfaces, and also for the far compliance with the provisions, the rules as under, and also every factory effective provision shall be so for a spectacle be for the prevention of glare అంటే మనకి కళ్ళలో పట్టము reflection, source of the light, and also smooth and also polished surfaces, and the formation of shadows, and also such extent the case of eye strain and also risk to the accidents of the workers. So it should not create any glare, and it should not create any shadows, and also We have to look for any the polished surfaces or the layered surfaces where it can create a reflection. All these things we have to check. Even while fixing up the lights also, we have to fix in such a way that it should not generate any shadows. The minimum lux levels, I think 150 for the office spaces. For that also there is an Indian standard. You can search in the right away. Indian standard, IS standard for the minimum lux levels in a factory or in a workplace. You can get that. I'm sorry, I forgot that the IS number. Then drinking water. So in every factory, the effective arrangements shall be made for the maintain and suitable points conveniently situated for working employees. Sufficiently supply of wholesome drinking water means it is a good water we have to provide, and also we have to mark it as drinking water. It is not simple that okay, we have put the drinking water there. It should be indicated in a language it is understood by the majority of the workers. It does not mean that you put in Telugu, Tragu Niru, but you are 80% of manpower from the North Indians. They don't know Telugu. If they know Telugu to read, it is fine. If they are not aware, then it should have in multiple languages. Then employment factory on such point shall be situated within 6 meters of any washing place. This is the critical point. You must see this whenever you join as a safety officer or if you're working already. The drinking water point, it should not be very nearby or it should not be within 6 meters from any washing place, any urinal or any latrine, any spittoons, open drain, carrying sludge, effluent, or any other source of contamination unless a shorter shorter distance is approved in writing by the chief inspector. See that? So you should not keep any drinking water point within 6 meters from those places. Latrines, urinals, spittoons, effluent handling, or any other contaminated sources until unless it is approved by the inspector of factories. Okay, we have to see this. Okay, so now we'll see in every factory wherein more than 250 workers are ordinary employed, provision shall be made for cool drinking water during the hot weathers. So if the people are there more than 250, you have to provide the cool drinking water. If the people are not there below 250, what to be done? In such case also we have to provide the cooling water in the weather, hot weathers. In respect of all the factories or any class description of factories, state that the rules and secure the compliance with the provisions and subsection 123 for examination by the authorities and by supplying of distribution of drinking water in factories. It is the general requirement, they'll come for the inspection. Here the thing is, what is the quantity of water we should give per employee? Any answer? What is the minimum quantity of water they should provide? It is a requirement. It is not covered in the Factories Act. If you see in the AP Factories rules, or I mean, you're from which state, you can see your state specific factories rules. There you could see the minimum quantity of water. If I'm not wrong, I think 5 liters per person. It is the minimum quantity of water you should provide based on your total count of employees. Okay. Then latrines and urinals, you should have sufficient latrines and urinals accommodation will be provided conveniently situated to the workers and also all times while they are in factory. Separate enclosed accommodation for male and female. Then such accommodation shall be adequately lightened, illuminated, unless specially this thing. Then all such accommodation shall be maintained in clean and sanitary condition. It should be clean and sanitary conditions. Then sweeper shall be employed whose whose primary duty it should be clean latrines, urinals, and also washing places. So we have to appoint the cleaning team also for maintaining in a proper manner. Okay. So here the also there is a requirement where more than 250 workers are ordinary employed. So what they have to do, all the detained urinals accommodation shall be prescribed in sanitary type, floor and internal walls, the height of 90 centimeters of the latrines and also urinals. The sanitary block shall be laid glazed tiles and otherwise finished to provide a smoother polished impervious surface. Either you have to have the tiles of the side walls or impervious surface. If you go to the AP factories rules, they'll talk about every 100 workers there are four urinals. For increasing of every 50, you have to increase one urinal. If I'm not wrong. Okay. Then spittoons. So spittoons are used for to spit the saliva for as in a hygiene part. Every factory there shall be provided a sufficient number of spittoons in convenient places, and they shall be maintained in a clean and hygienic condition. The government may make rules or prescribe the type and also number of spittoons to be provided. Their location in a factory provide the further matters. So for this also we can see in the AP factories rules the number of spittoons and also the distance to be maintained and also what kind of material to be used for the making this spittoon buns. Yeah, it is 5 liter, not 4 to 5 liters. It is 5 liter. Okay. Then chapter 4, which is safety. I think who are already working in safety department, they'll be well familiar with this. 21 fencing of the machinery. So the fencing of the machinery is talking about wherever there are the moving prime movers, every moving part of the prime movers or every flywheel connected to the prime movers or engine holes must be guarded, and the head care of tile race or every water wheel or water turbine. So it is simple that wherever there is a moving part or the portion of the machine which is or the part of the machine which is in motion, it must be guarded. As simple as such అంటే ఏదైనా ఒక పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ మిషన్ అంటే ఒక మిషన్లో ఏదైనా ఒక పార్ట్ అనేది తిరగటము లేదంటే కదులుతూ ఉందంటే కంపల్సరీగా దానికి ఖచ్చితంగా మనం గార్డింగ్ అనేది ఉండాలి. సో వర్క్ ఆన్ నియర్ ద మిషనరీ ఇన్ మోషన్. సో వర్క్ ఆన్ నియర్ మిషనరీ ఇన్ ద మోషన్ అంటే ఎప్పుడైతే మిషన్స్ అనేవి మూమెంట్లో ఉన్నప్పుడు అక్కడ పనిచేస్తూ ఉంటారు వాళ్ళకి సంబంధించి. Where in any factory it becomes necessary to examine any part of machinery referred to in section 21 while the machinery is in motion, the result of such examination to be carried out. Okay, so in the case of any reference to the clauses 1, so it is While the machinery is in motion, such examination or operation shall be made to be carried out only by the specially trained adult male workers wearing tight fittings clothing, which shall be supplied by the occupier and whose name has to be recorded in the register prescribed in the behalf of who has been furnished with the certificate of his appointment and while he is engaged. So here also it is clear that whoever is engaging in such kind of operations simply maintenance people, so who will do all these activities working while machinery in motion. So basically maintenance people do the lubrication or any oiling or checking. They only interact with machines while in motion. So for that also we should maintain a register, and during his appointment also he should be clearly defined in their roles and responsibilities. He is going to be work while the machines are in motion, and also we have to maintain the register for those kind of people. Such workers shall not handle the belt at moving pulley unless the belt is not more than 15 centimeters in width. It is very clear. Even though it is in motion, he is authorized. Still, there is a requirement. And the pulley is normally for the purpose of drive and not merely on the flywheel, the balance wheel, and in which the case of belt it is not permissible. And the belt joint is either laced or flushed with the belt. Then the belt, including the joint and also pulleys rim, are in a good repair condition. We have to ensure, and there is a reasonable clearance between the pulley and any other fixed plant or structure. Secure a foothold and also, where necessary, secure the handhold or provided for the operator, and also any ladder in use of carrying out of any examination or operating aforesaid securely fixed, lashed, also firmly held the second person. If you're using any ladder, sometimes the moving part may be in the higher levels. So if you're using those accessing in the ladder, somebody should hold the ladder while you are working in such heights. Okay. Then the other point, the point number two is very important. No woman or young person shall be allowed to clean, lubricate, or adjust any part of the prime movers. Okay, they should not allowed to clean or allowed to lubricate any moving parts of the machinery. And also mover or transmission machinery, while the prime movers, which means the motors which will run the pulley and the belt and the mission of cleaning, lubrication, and adjustment of which exposed to the woman, and also the young person or risk of injury moving part either machinery or adjacent machinery. Simple that we should not allow any woman or young person to do any interaction with the running machines, for especially for lubrication, cleaning, or other such activities. Then employment of young persons on dangerous missions. So no young person shall be employed or required allow. One second, please.